How many times have you felt that I want to go back and change my answer and you couldn't do it? And which is why I was comfortable saying yes to people, but yes, very uncomfortable in my own schedule. When we are saying yes to people, we are somewhere saying no to ourselves. And it's time we start choosing ourselves. Your time is yours, your energy is yours, your people need you. More than anyone else being uncomfortable, you are going to be uncomfortable. That no is a complete sentence. There is nothing before that, or there is nothing after that, because they have unrestricted access to you. They can just pick up the phone and ask you for anything that they want. You are choosing your own personal growth. You're choosing your time for yourself. You're choosing your energy for yourself. How many times have you said yes just to keep the peace? How many times have you ignored your own needs just because you didn't want to disappoint someone else? How many times have you felt that I want to go back and change my answer and you couldn't do it? Today, we are going to explore why it is so difficult to say no. And when you start saying no, how it's going to change your life. Welcome to the Shift Signal, where we talk about everything, the messy, the magical, and all the moments in between. Hi, my name is Preeti. I'm a life coach, a Reiki healer, but just a normal girl who would like to share insights from my own personal journey. A word that everyone finds it difficult to say is the word no. And today I'm going to talk about how this word can actually change every aspect of your life. It can protect your time, your energy, your mental peace, and it can help you prioritize yourself, which you haven't done in a very long time. Uh, I'm a person who really struggle or used to struggle to say no. I think it comes from the values or how we've been brought up, especially in the Indian families, where we are required to be kind, to be contributive, to be very supportive when we are saying yes to everyone else and saying no to ourselves. So I've been a people pleaser for a very long time, especially after getting married. I never had the guts to say no to anybody, no matter I was exhausted or if I was, busy. I didn't have the time. I had so many things lined up for me, but I could never say no to people who ever needed me for an event, for some work, just to be there for them, just to support them. And I've said too many yeses for many, many years. So by saying no, I would sound rude, I would sound selfish, I would sound disappointing. And, people would get offended and think that I'm not being there for them, I'm not supporting them. And which is why I was comfortable saying yes to people, but yes, very uncomfortable in my own schedule. And no matter whatever was waiting for me would just wait for me, just because I had to say yes to people and do things for them and not for myself. So if I really think that, if people think this and understand it, when we are saying yes to people, we are somewhere saying no to ourselves. And it's time we start choosing ourselves, prioritizing ourselves, our time and our energy for us rather than saying yes to everybody. This was exhausting and it took away all my time and it took away all my energy. But then I started realizing that people are taking me for granted and people were enjoying a version of me which always said yes. I started working on myself a lot. I started meditating. I started reading a lot of books. I started listening to a lot of other podcasts. And I started looking into my own personal growth. So, what I used to do is I used to strategize, things for myself, make a list, to do list, and put things on my agenda as to what I was going to do for the entire day. That's when I started spending time on myself. And when I started doing that, I used to get calls from people saying that, can you be there for me? Or can you come over? Or I need this favor. Can you do this for me? And then I started pushing back people and saying, I'll let you know. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I'm not sure. I'll come back to you. When I started giving these kind of answers to people, is when I started realizing that I am beginning to say no and I'm beginning to choose myself. So, saying no is really a skill. It doesn't come overnight. It didn't come to me overnight. It's only when I started changing my answers towards people is when I realized that I think I've started saying no for so many things. And I have started choosing myself now. So saying no uh, became so important in my life that now I've made an entire episode out of this where I want to share a few tips and things that people can do if they want to say no and not sound rude, not sound selfish. Say it in a nice way or do it in a nicer way, and which is like a win win situation for you. So it's few things that I started doing, and I wanted to just bring it across on this episode for you. The first and foremost thing that I realized is it's very important for us to be clear when we want to say no. There are people who will call you, who will tell you to do things for them. And if we are on the phone, we kind of give answers like, I'll let you know, I'm not very sure, let me discuss it with my family and come back to you, let me think over it and come back to you. Because we don't want to sound, we don't want to say no just in the beginning. And also, when we are in front of the person and the person is asking us to do something for them, we kind of we don't make eye contact with them, and we start mumbling something within us, where or we change the topic to something else, because we don't want to say a direct no. I think it's okay to just tell people that no, it's not going to be possible for me this time, and we'll probably do it next time. Or I have another commitment. I have to attend another meeting. I have to attend another event, or I have something else going on. So I think when the first time someone asks you for a favor or asks you to do something for them, and if your answer is no in your mind and you think that you won't be able to do it, rather than going around different kind of answers and keeping them confused, and keeping them in the hope that you're definitely going to do it for them, it's better that you just clear it in the first instance itself that no, this would not be possible for me. And it's not going to make you look rude, it's not going to make you look selfish, or it's not going to disappoint them. So be clear, and so that the person who's also asking you understands that if you're going to be there for them or no. Secondly, most of us do this, and even I have done this a lot. I still do it, I think, that we really over explain ourselves. And because, we want to justify why we are saying no. We want a validation that, the reason I'm saying no is one, two, three, four. And the person who's asking you would validate it and say, yeah, sure, you really have a good reason to say no. Or you want permission from them, or you want an approval from them. So that is why you kind of over explain yourself when a discussion like this comes out. And I feel that we don't need to have a 15-20 minute conversation, tell an entire story as to why we are saying no to the person. Because what happens is, when we are giving this 10 to 15 minute explanation, uh, they will come with another 4 5 solutions for you, telling you that why don't you do it this way, and why don't you go on another day, why is this important to you, and that leads to another round of discussion. Eventually, after the whole discussion, you kind of get frustrated because you're still not able to say the direct word no, and you're still explaining yourself again and again and again, and just because you want a validation from them. So we don't need this validation, we don't need this permission from people just because we want to say no. I still remember I had to go for a wedding, and it was my daughter's exam the next day, maths exam, and she needed help with that. And going to this wedding was also important for me because I couldn't say no. So I went for the wedding, and I was talking to everybody over there. As soon as we finished eating, my friend said, come on, let's go. I said, why? We have to be there. We have to speak to everybody over here. And she said, do you realize how much your daughter needs you right now for that exam tomorrow? And I said, is it going to look okay to just go away? And she said, it's fine, just move. And we left the wedding. We went back home. I was there for my daughter for the rest of the evening. I helped her with her maths exam, and it all turned out fine. That's when I also understood that I was respecting others' needs, but I had to respect what my daughter needed at that point of time. And it was that is who I was for a very long time. I could not just walk out. I could not just say no. So you don't have to over explain yourself. Your time is yours. Your energy is yours. Your people need you more than anyone else. So you have to decide when you have to say yes and when you have to say no. And when you are saying no to someone else, you are saying yes to yourself. So it's going to take time, but we need to get into this version of ourselves where we are okay to say no. And over explaining is definitely not required. So, to sum this up a little bit, of course, we have to be clear. We don't have to over explain. But along with this, what I have personally felt is that it makes me feel very, very guilty. So, feeling guilty is okay because there is a version of you which has always said yes, and people are comfortable with that version of you. You yourself are comfortable with that version of you. And when you are becoming another person, more than anyone else being uncomfortable, you are going to be uncomfortable. So even if the guilt is creeping in, let the guilt stay there. It's not that you're wrong about it. Let the guilt be with you for some time, and slowly you'll start getting used to becoming this new you, where you are respecting your own needs and where you are beginning to choose yourself. So feel guilty, but it's okay to feel guilty, but don't feel bad about it and don't tell yourself that you're wrong. Along with this, a very important uh, part that I would like to get into this discussion is we need to understand that no is a complete sentence. There is nothing before that, or there is nothing after that. When we say no, it's just a full stop after that. So, telling somebody, I'll let you know, I'm not very sure, having so many, sentences around it, making a paragraph around it, making a story around it is not required. You're not going to look bad if you say no. It's not a sin to say no. And it is your own right. It is a sense of freedom. Every day, every minute, you have the right to say no to someone if you want to. So it is a complete sentence. So don't make it an entire discussion if you want to say no. And the biggest thing that most of us are struggling with, sometimes me too, when people are asking you for money, And it can be your friends, it can be someone who's very close to you. Even if you don't have the money, you will go out of your way, make a few adjustments, and make sure that you have given money to your friend or the person who needs it. So don't give money if it is an obligation. Give money if you feel generous. And what happens is, when you give money to people, so you don't say no the first time when they've asked you for the money. You go out of your way and you give them the money. After that, you you are very hesitant to ask back for the money. And the person who's taken the money from you is not even bothered, thinks that it's okay to give it to you whenever they have it. And they are taking their own sweet time to even come back to you. So while this happens, you start getting into a frustrated feeling, and you start thinking that they are taking you for granted, because they come back and they meet you and they speak to you and they go out for dinners with you, they come to your house, they have conversations about everything. And they don't mention when they are going to return the money to you. And you're getting so uncomfortable within, because you're not able to ask back for the money. And you had really struggled when they really needed that money. So in this course of they not wanting to repay, and you are not being able, you're not able to ask back for the money, is where this relationship or this closeness with this friend starts turning bitter, because you feel that they didn't value it. They've just taken you for granted, and they are not bothered to repay it to you. And you don't want to ask back also, because you don't want to sound you know rude, or you don't want to sound you don't want to show them that you've really done a favor to them. It makes you feel stuck in this situation. So if you cannot give the money, and if you're not going to be able to ask back for it, then please don't give it, or just say no, I don't have the arrangement right now, and I won't be able to shell out any money. It happens to many people. They've given the money and they are not able to ask back. So say no if you cannot give it. I really believe that especially money, it damages all kinds of relationship. I don't know. This is my opinion, and I've heard it from my elders that never get money into any kind of relationships or any kind of friendships, because it's difficult to say no. It's difficult to ask back, and it becomes like a whole complicated situation for someone. Also, pay attention to who respects your no. Some people have you in their lives because they have unrestricted access to you. They can just pick up the phone and ask you for anything that they want. And they are so used to a version of you which says yes, the yes version of you. So pay attention now when you start changing, when you start saying no to them, and see how they would react when they are seeing this new you. And that's when you're going to get to know that if you are in their life just because they like you, or you are in their life because you keep saying yes to everything. So it's kind of going to give you a reality check, where you will understand that just because you said no to somebody, it's disappointed them, and now they're becoming distant with you. There will also be a set of people who will appreciate and respect when you start saying no. And there will be people who will come back to you and say, I'm so happy you took a stand for yourself and you said no. And I've been wanting to tell you this for a long time that, you know, why do you have to say yes for everything? And so there is going to be a set of people who will actually respect you and who will appreciate that you're coming forward and you're not apologetic for saying no to somebody. So this is really going to filter a lot of people in your life, and you will begin to see who is becoming distant and who is uh, appreciating uh, what that you are choosing your own personal growth, you're choosing your time for yourself, you're choosing your energy for yourself. And there are people who are going to understand this and like you more for who you're becoming. So pay attention to this. As I wrap up this episode today, I would just like to conclude that you don't have to earn love, friendship, acceptance, or respect just by saying yes. Your worth is not measured by how available you are to everybody. It is very empowering to say no, maybe politely, confidently, but definitely unapologetically. People are going to respect if you're going to start creating boundaries around you and protect your time and your energy. Remember that creating boundaries is not uh, pushing away people from your life or distancing from anybody. It is just respecting your own time and your own energy. And people who love you will also respect this. So, if this episode resonated with you and you were able to relate to what I said today, please share it with people who need this as a gentle reminder that there is a power when we say no, and there is a sense of freedom that we experience when we start choosing ourselves. Also, remember that choosing yourself and saying no is not uh, disrespectful, or it is not selfish, it is self respecting. Thank you.